So MLB fans, listen up. As the Yankees fan of the show, what should we be looking at for the Yankees going into the All-Star break and specifically the deadline? What moves do you think?
Yep. So, here we are coming up to the All Star break. Starting tomorrow's the Home Run Derby. The Yanks started the year good, then they got extremely hot, boat racing everybody in the AL East. And then recently now, they just can't win games. They can't string them along. They're going on losing streaks. They'll get a win or two, keep losing. The injuries are also piling up. But I feel like there's a lot to unpack here, just all the way around. So a couple things I can start with. Of course, if we remember all the way in the beginning of the season, Garrett Cole ended up being out for the year. So Garrett Cole was scratched. They did put Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. He was there last year, wasn't super great, but Carlos Rodon this year has been doing great. I believe he's at 10-6 for the year. And then Max Fried, of course, a huge pickup, who is an all-star. He's 11-3 with a sub 2.4 ERA. Max Fried, a great player. I know if you're watching now, you're probably going to see that Max Fried was scratched from the game. He played a little bit yesterday, got scratched due to a blister on his hand. So, classic Yankees. He had a blister on his finger. He did not pitch the full game yesterday, and I believe he is also scratched from the All-Star game as well. Not a huge deal. He got his selection. He does not need to play. He needs to be healthy for the rest of the year. That's a quick summary of the pitching. Now this is where we are. Aaron Boone, not a good coach. I've been saying now for the last 2 seasons they should have fired him already. Every year the Yankees keep reloading and signing really, really big name players, and they can't win the big one. They finally made it to the World Series last year, and honestly, in embarrassing fashion, lost to the Dodgers. Aaron Judge was a no-show once again in the postseason. Giancarlo Stanton, he's an all-star when it comes to the playoffs. And then our pitching just kind of collapsed at the end of the year because our pitching depth was not as deep as the Dodgers. So, coming off of these last couple seasons here, I think Boone is going to be on the hot seat. I'm going to be a typical Yankee fan here. I'd say it's championship or bust once again. You reached the World Series last year, and you have almost the same team, but even better. Obviously, you lose Garrett Cole, but you gain Max Fried. We have the Airbender as our closer now. I believe he came from Milwaukee. And, we're sitting with a team currently 53-42 right before the All-Star break, depending on how this game goes today with the Cubs. And you're a couple games behind in the AL East to the Blue Jays, okay? So I feel like the Yankees are kind of at a big time to buy in the trade deadline, which I'm going to cover here in a minute, but I feel like State of Union, if I had to address everybody, it's they need to win a championship this year, or we need to start blowing up the team a little bit. Looking into what the Yankees need, right? I can start here by saying the other day they did DFA DJ LeMahieu, utility player, but he was really someone that was playing third base, since that is a player that we need, or a position that we need. DJ, great player. Always liked him. His hitting a couple years ago was fantastic. Always making contact with the ball, never getting into double plays. But unfortunately, his injuries hasn't been super consistent until recently. They had to let him go, which I understand. If they haven't won with him yet, you might as well cut him. So we'll have to see there. Now, with that being said, what is going on? As of now, Jazz Chisholm, all-star selection for the Home Run Derby. He's been playing third base a little bit. And also splitting time with him was Oswaldo Perez. Again, a lot of this infield has been splitting time with each other. You're going to play second, third, shortstop, right? They're just kind of all over the place at the moment. So a couple things to look forward to with the trade deadline, which I'm really hoping the Yankees do, is, of course, look for a third baseman and then pitching. First thing is we'll talk about the the serious trade, right? So before I talk about a pitcher that I want, let's talk about third baseman. So reading, a lot of stuff of what the Yankees are looking for, and that's going to be a third baseman from, I believe now he's on the Cardinals, is going to be Nolan
Arenado.
Yes. And really, to get him right, I know the Rockies still owe his some money. The Cardinals are going to have to pay him a little bit money. But a couple notes that I took of, who could, we can trade away for. I'm thinking about two prospects. We have a couple top 10 prospects. One of them was a shortstop. One of them was a left-handed pitcher who I think the Yankees would deal. And then Oswaldo Perez, they'll probably have to deal him. So if we give up two potential prospects with Oswaldo, I feel like they're able to get Nolan Arenado. But again, he's probably the most serious person that I think the Yankees are going to go after to fill that third base hole, which that would be ideal because at least we'll have a better infield. The outfield is, of course, solid. It's the infield. We need that third baseman. One trade, which everybody talks about it, and they're delusional. Dealing for Paul Skenes would be a huge pickup. Of course, I'm going to say they need Paul Skenes. I've seen so many tweets out there with, I think this morning I read his last win was in May. Okay. He has 4 wins this year. Okay.
Unbelievable.
He is top 10 in almost every statistic out there this year. His ERA is unbelievable. The Pirates just can't win, right? I know there were some articles about the Pirates front office and manager. They were saying, oh, we're not dealing them. We're going to keep them. I think Paul is pretty frustrated in Pittsburgh at the moment because he's really wasting a lot of good time.
Now is the time.
And I feel like now the Pirates, they want to keep him, but why? You can get a load for him right now. I drew up a couple ideas here of what the Yankees could deal. It's going to be everything. I feel like the Yankees, they don't really use their prospects a lot. They sign big name players and then they will promote, but sometimes they're not consistent. So I'm thinking about dealing a couple players here. Luis Gil, he's currently in AA right now. He's rehabbing. I believe he was last year, great pitcher. But with Luis, I think we should deal him away. If they want a replacement for Paul Skenes, I feel like he's already MLB ready going through rehab. Today, he pitched about 50 pitches today for the AA team. He'll be ready to go for the Yankees in the next couple days unless they trade for him. So I think we can trade him. A couple prospects I had in mind. Spencer Jones, outfielder, number 2 ranked prospect. Spencer Jones is, I would say, pretty equivalent to Aaron Judge with batting. He is someone that strikes out a lot, but he also hits a lot of home runs. So I feel like Spencer Jones would be a great person to trade. And another pitcher, Ben Hess, number 3 prospect, right-handed pitcher, a lot of strikeouts. A little inconsistent, but I think he has the potential to do it. 2 other players to trade for him. Jason Dominguez, outfielder. The Martian has been a great player this year. We can deal him. That's fine. And then also Anthony Volpe. He's whatever, honestly. I feel like this year Volpe has taken a little bit of a step back. Some bad throws at shortstop. Hitting has been average. But I feel like if we give away, 2 prospects, our pitcher in rehab, and then, of course, Dominguez and Volpe, I feel like that is more than enough for getting Skenes in New York. That would be huge if they can pull that off. That would really help with Garrett Cole being out. But more to come with that trade. I'm reading all these rumors online. I saw Olivia Dunn was looking at apartments in New York City, and it has you wondering, it's not to the Mets, right? It has to be to the Yankees. So I'm going off of those conspiracy theories with Olivia Dunn looking into New York City so Paul can live in the city and be a Yankee, but we'll have to see what happens. Again, the Pirates are saying that he is not up to be traded, but money talks, and especially if they're getting an absolute haul for him, I think the Pirates are just going to say, you can walk. But with that being said, if the Yankees do trade for him and they do give away all of these prospects, they need to sign Paul Skenes for whatever it takes, because I do not want to be in a situation where we trade away the farm and players for Paul Skenes, and then it turns out we're in a bidding battle with the Mets, the Dodgers, and they're offering, let's just say, $350 million, but the Yankees fall short at $340. We can't have that happen. If you're going to give away everybody, you have to be prepared to give them that blank check.
So a lot of the times I hear of a Yankees trade, it's going to be with Jason Dominguez or even Volpe. I remember 2 years ago when Volpe first came up, everybody thought he was going to be Jeter. I think now the expectation has kind of settled down a little bit. Explain those two guys specifically, because those are everyday players for the Yankees. Explain why, well, obviously Paul Skenes is one of those guys that you got to send the house for. But explain specifically Volpe, Dominguez. Obviously, both of them, specifically Dominguez, has been playing well this year. Kind of explain that.
Yeah. So starting with Jason Dominguez, of course, top prospect, the Martian. They were relating him, when he was in AA, AAA ball. They're saying, he's basically Aaron Judge. Not as big, but he just mashes home runs. I feel like Jason Dominguez, just a great overall player. When it comes to outfield, very quick out there, has a decent arm, but I really love the hitting from him. His hitting is top tier on the Yankees so far, especially with the kind of like the losing streak they've been on. Jason Dominguez, just an all-around great team player, great hitter, and I feel like he's so young to where if they do deal for Paul Skenes, Jason Dominguez would be a great fit for the Pirates, because, honestly, the Pirates really don't have anybody, so I feel like he'd be a top 3 player, right after being traded. So Jason Dominguez, personally, is my favorite. It would hurt to have Jason Dominguez leave, but I understand. Now, Volpe, I really don't mind if he goes. Anthony Volpe, great shortstop from, Jeter retires, don't really have an official shortstop. They finally call up Volpe, who was doing great in the minor leagues, and now he's been at Yankee Stadium, and the hype of him, people comparing him to the next Jeter is not going to happen there, right? He's an average shortstop. In the league, there's a lot of better shortstops, but he's been fine for the team, right? He's been good, but I feel like his time is going to be almost up. The Yankees will need to find a different shortstop in due time, but I feel like they'll want to deal him. So I feel like Volpe, great batter, great infielder, but very inconsistent. And again, he's not as good as he was last year. He's kind of hitting that slump. Kind of reminds me of Gleyber Torres when he was playing for the Yankees. Gleyber Torres, great rookie, mashing home runs, but his time kind of stalled out, and they eventually dealt him. So I feel like Volpe might be on that same track as Gleyber.
So yeah, I would expect to watch the Yankees be aggressive this trade deadline. Like you said, it's either championship or bust for the Yankees, and a pitcher like Paul Skenes would definitely put them in the top of, if they are not already, put them in the top of the World Series winner category.
Yeah. So we got the trade deadline coming up at the end of this month. So, looking ahead of what the Yankees are going to be facing. So we have the Cubs as of now. Looks like they're losing, so so that'll be it before the All-Star break. So after that loss, pretty serious couple games going into the trade deadline. So after the All-Star break, they have a series at the Braves. Would be nice to win that for a couple wins, but this is where it gets super important. They're going to be at Toronto. So right now, the Blue Jays are currently leading the AL East. The Yankees have to win 2 out of the 3 minimum to gain some traction. After at Toronto, then they're going to be back at home, which is going to be home to Philly. Always a great series. Again, they're in the NL, not super important for us, but it's going to be nice to see them playing a pretty decent team. But if they can win that, then it's going to be a long series. Tampa Bay is going to be going to Yankee Stadium, 4-game series. They have to go 3 out of 4, especially it's the AL East. So those are going to be the matchups going into the trade deadline. Hopefully we can get some players for it. It also doesn't hurt. I know I didn't talk about pitching that much, just Paul Skenes, but it would be nice to have another reliever in there. But mainly a third baseman and a starting pitcher would be huge for the Yankees. Then there's the trade deadline. And then after that, they're going to be at Miami. So I'll be at that. I'll be at those games. But it's in August, so not really that important. But it's after the trade deadline, so who knows what happens after that. But
So Aaron Judge gets career home run number 350 just the other day. Cal Raleigh is on pace to break Barry Bonds' record. It seems both these guys are on a collision course for MVP. Who do you think pulls it out?
hot take here. I still think Judge is going to be the favorite for the MVP. He just hit home run number 350. I know that, the Mariners catcher here is doing great, leading the home run race and all, but let's not forget, I was watching the game the other night and Judge was out to bat, hit a sac fly to win the game. And again, this is the Mariners when they were up 5-0 in the eighth inning. They're actually throwing a no-hitter, and then they choked and lost. They actually could have saved the game if their all-star catcher would have made the tag. The ball got there plenty of time, completely whiffed the tag on Volpe, and the Yankees won. So I don't know. Don't think he's that great, but I do think he's going to win the home run derby, and he's having a great season. But I still think Judge will be the favorite there. But home run derby is going to be pretty chalk in my opinion. I believe it is this year going to be at Atlanta.
So this year is in Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay, not bad. Haven't been, but decent field. It's better than most places. However, I did miss when they had the home run derby in Seattle or where the Rockies played. That's always fun. But
watch the balls fly.
But yeah, Atlanta's going to be a fun time. Home run derby, of course, must watch. But for the All-Star game, it'll be cool. Nothing really to report there. Everybody only plays an inning or so.
It'll be fun to watch Skubal and Skenes go head-to-head for a couple innings, but